Okay then, never underestimate the power of hate and fear. And a billionaire bribing people with $1 million checks, I guess.
You ever just get so angry and confused that you start spouting nonsense just so you have something to say to make you feel better? Well, apparently that is how the left and their allies like to handle it. And a fursuiter named Sockfur put out one chef's kiss version of that kind of delusional video the same day Kamala Harris conceded the election. They say they don't want to make this video, probably because they didn't think they were going to have to make it. I'm willing to bet they probably were ready to make a video about the triumph of the victory of Kamala Harris. I can practically see the video now. Oh, how this multiracial woman defeated the hateful fascists on the right. That this victory shows that America is taking a step forward. They were willing to vote and accept a female president. The glass ceiling was shattered for good, and everything was going to be gumdrops and rainbows for the next 30 years.
I don't want to make this video. I've been stalling on it all day, but I know I have to, because the people are going to come here looking for reassurances that I just can't count. Trump is slated to be the next president, and more than likely the last one as well. The reality is that now that they've won, Trump's cheerleaders are saying that Project 25 is full steam ahead. We have to accept that predominantly white people voted against their best interest and for a dictatorship in waiting because they were made to be afraid of them by Trump.
I mean, they said this like they are the only one out there that is freaking out and bandying wild accusations about what the new presidency will be. Somehow Trump is going to do away with the elections. That Project 2025, which has no connections to the Trump campaign, by the way, is now going full speed ahead. Then they immediately go to the thought process that white people primarily voted for a dictator. But they forget to mention that many groups voted for Trump to be president. In Dearborn, Michigan, for example, the Muslim community endorsed Trump. Did they think that Trump was anti-Israel? Not at all. They acknowledged that he was pro-Israel, but they understood that he was the best option for an end to the conflict and a lasting peace after. Trump doesn't like war. He has said this numerous times over the years. He feels that it is a waste of lives, that people suffering and dying from war is a tragedy. And guess what? It is. As any veteran can tell you, a war zone is not a fun place. You see death and destruction all around you. You see the worst that humanity can do to one another. And this is why Muslims wanted Trump. Kamala gave no real answer, no plan of how she was going to fix the problems. She presented no solutions to the many issues that have led to the current conflict either. They also had the Amish coming out in large numbers for Trump, despite staying silent for many previous elections. Their own livelihoods were being threatened by the Harris administration. Taxes and regulations were taking a toll on their families and their ability to make ends meet. And then you had union workers going against union leadership endorsements for Harris and voting for Trump. This included the steel workers and the United Auto Workers unions, two historically Democratic voting unions. Electric car mandates were costing them jobs as Americans refused to pay the high cost, yet less benefit electric vehicles that were now being mandated by states like California. Steel workers voted for Trump because he stopped Chinese companies from dumping their steel on our shores, drastically cutting their share of the market.
And they were influenced by other rich and popular white men with two branches of government support who will also directly benefit in some way from dear leader Trump.
They doubled down on their statements by talking about how rich men were the ones supporting Trump, when the opposite is true. While there were some key billionaires that supported Trump, Elon Musk being one of them, the Harris campaign had over 28 billionaires supporting their campaign, including Arthur Blank, Michael Bloomberg, Avram Glazer, 3 executives from Blackstone, George Soros, Mark Cuban, Tim Draper, and Tyler Perry, just to name a few.
Awakening. So short term, have the cry, have the depression, but ultimately we fight back in the ways that we can. Don't give up, don't give in.
You need to band together your friends and family because they are coming for the Constitution next. You know, the ones fighting for freedom of speech on social media and fighting for Second Amendment rights to bear arms? But sure, Republicans are going for the Constitution, even though we are the ones that actually believe the oath to support and defend the Constitution, while Democrats like John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and Beto O'Rourke have openly stated that they want to change the freedom of speech and come for our right to bear arms.
We have to look at what we can preserve and what we can protect. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your tribe. Because there's no cavalry coming. We're on our own. We have to work with the notion that there will be some guardrails left to stop Trump from burning the Constitution completely and hope for a 2016 flip of Congress in the House. But Trump is chaos incarnate. Anything can happen from here, so we plan for the worst and we hope for the best.
But they continue with the message that the sky is falling and Trump is chaos incarnate. He isn't. He is a pragmatic businessman that knows how to make deals and wants to get things done. I mean, he's the only president in recent memory that actually set out to do things he campaigned to do. He said he was going to build a wall, and he did it. He said he was going to go after China, and he did it. But Trump is a liar, according to the left.
Truth is that I don't have an uplifting message right now. The future is completely uncertain and we don't know how to attack it yet. But what I do know is that once people realize what they signed us up for, the buyer's remorse will be very real. I just hope the damage they set into motion can be recovered from.
They then openly admit they don't know how to combat all this, and that is because there is no plan. Trump and Republicans have been on the right side of this entire argument. People got tired of the unchecked waves of immigrants coming into towns. Immigration and diversity can be a very good thing. But if you have an influx of over 1,000 people come into a small town and double their population overnight, the resources in that town will be stretched thin. Hospitals will fill up quickly. Government services will be unable to keep up with the demand for such things as financial aid and government programs. People were also getting tired of the handouts going to these newcomers when they were struggling to make ends meet. New York and other large cities were putting immigrants in five-star hotels and providing them with debit cards to pay for all the things they wanted while their actual residents were scraping by paycheck to paycheck. Then there was the large influx of crime in cities all across the country, brought about by liberal and left-leaning prosecutors, judges, and legislation that made the criminal system a revolving door where crimes were committed. The accused would be arrested, given a no-cash bail, and released just to commit another crime. Cities like LA, San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle were so bad that corporations would rather shut down and move to another state than risk their employees walking down the sidewalks just to go to work. It is plainly obvious why people voted for change and voted for Trump. The average working man felt ignored. They watched as inflation caused their paycheck to buy less and less, and then watched as new immigrants to this country that came here illegally were given free handouts, while they had to work harder just to make ends meet. They watched as their cities became unmatched hellscapes, where just walking down the sidewalk could get you stabbed or punched at random and for no reason. They simply had enough. While Trump may not be the answer to solve all of these problems, he certainly is better than what Harris and the Democrats were selling, and clearly the world agrees with us so far. Hamas and the Houthis both have asked for ceasefires and an end to the war in Gaza. Both Russia and Ukraine have spoken to President Trump to try and end the war in Ukraine as well. Premier Xi of China congratulated Trump and said they wanted peace with the United States. Europe immediately began negotiations to buy liquefied natural gas from the US instead of Russia, and Steve Madden even announced that they will reduce manufacturing in China by 48% to reduce the risk of tariffs. I'm Colt Paxton, and this is Red Pill Media. We are here. You cannot erase us.